Hey besties. Alright, I'm doing it. I finally made it to YouTube. Let's get into this first beat. This was a wedding beat. It was a formal brunch wedding. We had such a good time. But I wanted the beat to be just enough for a wedding, but not too much for brunch. So I did my brows and lashes off camera because low key I was running late and wasn't sure I was gonna have time to record for y'all. But we made it. So prep my under eyes with Ilia, always critical to prevent the creasing. And then I went in with skin tint versus concealer for this because it was daytime. So I didn't want to do too much early in the morning. So blend that in real good. You see how it's blending into my skin? The skin tint is that girl. Like, she looks like she's my skin and corrects the little bit of discoloration I had. It's just perfect. I love her. All right, so as I let the skin tint dry down, let's go ahead and put some concealer on. I started with my NARS Truffle, which is my darker shade of my concealers. I went right under my eyes, quite a bit of products. Then I also, for this look, did my forehead and a little bit on my nose, just so that the sun could hit. Just so, as we were outside enjoying the sunshine. And then we blend, blend, blend. No such thing as too much blending here. I go through like two or three different brushes to make sure that I get my concealer in all the little creases and all the little spots that are along my nose and under my eyes. Alright, so the base of my face is mostly done. So I'm going to add a little definition back. For this look, I went with a light-ish shade of blush. And I went in with the liquid blush first, and then I'll set that later on. So because it was a lighter color, I was able to put a little bit more product on than I typically do. If this was a darker shade, less is more. And then more concealer. This is my lighter shade, um, to give the additional pop. You'll see I put a little less concealer here than I did under the full eye. So this is really in the inner corners and just under my eye so that I get the brightness that I like. I like for my under eye to be lighter than the rest of my face. And my forehead a little bit lighter, but mostly my under eye. And again, here I go in with a few different brushes. Again, all the creases, all the little spots. I just want to make sure that every layer is super blended. And then I go in with my pressed powder. Sorry, I go in with my loose powder. Laura Mercier, she's that girl. Always do right. But I set my under eye, forehead, and the bridge of my nose with this powder. Now it's time to set that blush. I use the Juvia's Place palette here, the darker shade of the two, to set the blush, the liquid blush with a little bit more pigment. Again, just bringing color to the cheeks. And then my favorite part of this whole look is the bronzer. This is a bronzed look. Okay, so I go in really heavy with the NYX bronzer. And I actually did this in 2 layers. So this is the first layer. Forehead, around the perimeter of my face, just a little bit on the cheeks, a little bit on my nose, and a little bit on my eyes. But this sets the foundation for the rest of the beat. And I'm going to set all this for the first layer. Again, I do things in layers. So this is my Fenty Beauty pressed foundation. I use this as my like finishing powder versus a loose powder, just a preference. So light layer of that. And then I go back in again with the bronzer, this time a little more concentrated on my nose. So this is my nose contour of the day. It's not a super deep contour, just to give a little more definition to the face that the previous steps have taken away. And then I wanted some color on my eye, but again, I'm running late. So I don't have time for a full eye look. So I took that bronzer and that brush, 1 + 1 = 2, and we had an eye look real quick. Bronzer on the eyes, nothing too much, just enough to give some definition to my face without having to pull out a whole makeup kit because I was running late. I didn't have time. And then more bronzer, more and more bronzer, going back around the perimeter of my face and contouring the cheeks a little bit more. And then I went in with my MAC Studio Fix powder. I use this as my under eye like pressed powder setter for my concealer. This is the old formula. There's been lots of discourse about the new formula. I don't know anything about that, but she's been that girl for a long time, so I'm gonna stand by her. And then again, another layer of the blush. Every time you do a layer, it kind of mutes the other layer, so you need to add a layer on top. And then this is my first layer of setting spray, so I feel like the look is coming together like I want it. I could be done here, so I'm gonna set the face, and then go in with my under eye eyeliner. This ColourPop gel liner, it goes on so smooth and so easy, y'all. It's literally my, at this point, it's the only eyeliner that I use under my eyes. Like, I love this eyeliner so much. All right, so my eyeshadow look was super cute, but I feel like I needed just a little pop of color. So I dipped into my bronzer, not my bronzer. I dipped into my highlighter and put a little highlighter on the inner corners. It's not like a real brand. It's like a Beauty Supply store highlighter, but she gets the job done. So that's what I put on the inside of my corners, just to make the eye look a little more intentional, and to again give something for the sun to reflect off of in photos. And I felt like my under eye wasn't as light as I wanted it. So I went back in with the brush with my Laura Mercier translucent powder, just to give a little more definition directly under my eye, and to also make sure that I had enough powder to not get fine lines and creasing later in the day. And because I went in with the Laura Mercier, I had to then go back in with the MAC Studio Fix. These two work hand in hand. Like the Laura Mercier by itself is a little too bright. The MAC brings it down like half a shade, just enough to be just how I like the colors to play well on my face. All right, y'all. So that's the beat. Let's get into this lip. This was a really fun lip. I started with a lip liner, Juvia's Place, baby. She don't go nowhere. Okay, I love this lip liner. You can eat, work, do whatever you want all day, and this lip liner is still gonna be on. So that was my foundation that I started with. I had a little cleanup to do, so Q-tips always come in super clutch to get the small spaces, but I wanted the liner to be relatively thick because I was going for a darker outer and like a lighter inner, almost like a 90s lip, but not quite. And then I went back in with the Lip Bar liquid lipstick. I love that this dries matte, like it dries down and it dries down matte. So I love to use this as a lip liner because it gives me a deeper color and it also allows me to have a broad, like a wider line without having to draw forever. So I love this lipstick. It's one of my faves. And then I went in with my lipstick. For this one, I used the Sephora Cream Lip Stain. Again, it lasts for a really long time. I knew it was going to be a long day, and I wanted to be prepared. I love this shade because it's like the perfect shade of pink for my skin tone. And dark skin girls know pink is hard, but I really, really love this shade. So Sephora did her big one. And I really could have left it here. Like this lip combo was doing what needed to be done. But I wanted a little gloss. So that's what I did. I just added some Fenty gloss on top to blend in and give me the look that I was going for that day. And baby, we are ready. People were fussing at me. I was very much running late. But the face, the face. All right, y'all, come back. Like, subscribe, all those things. Watch my next video. Bye.